Life is hard. See, it's hard when you are 49 years old, been working on a job for 17 years, and they come in and tell you you're finished and give you 1 week severance pay. And you got to start all over again. It's hard when you are married and raising children and your children are crawling and your husband dies unexpectedly. It's hard handling just the tragedies of life. It's hard when you're working on something and you put everything you have in it and it doesn't work out. You lose your money and other people's money. It's hard. It was rough when I lost my job and I could not find a job. It was humiliating and embarrassing, borrowing money, and then I couldn't pay the money back when I told them I would. That's rough. How people look at you, how they respond to you. It's very hard. It's humiliating. Here's what I discovered that happens to you in life, that you will go through things, and while you're going through them, you can't understand why it's happening to you. But after you go through it, you get back and you look at it and you say, oh, now I understand why I needed that lesson. Have you ever happened to you? Raise your hand. Has it ever happened to you that I couldn't understand it then, but after I got through it, then I saw that was preparing me for bigger and better things. As you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender and say, okay, all right, I cooperate, okay, I learned, okay. It had to wear me out a long time. So if it's hard, then do it hard. Now, how do you hang in there during the hard, difficult times? Les, you must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas, unquestionably. You've got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. That it's not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action. You've got to keep moving and keep plugging away. In the Far East, they have something that's called the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to grow. They have to water and fertilize the ground where it is every day. And it doesn't break through the ground until the 5th year. But once it breaks through the ground, within 5 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Now the question is, does it grow 90 feet tall in 5 weeks or 5 years? The answer is obvious. It grows 90 feet tall in 5 years. Because at any time, had that person stopped watering and nurturing and fertilizing that dream, that bamboo tree would have died in the ground. And I can see people coming out talking to a guy out there watering and fertilizing the ground that's not showing anything. Hey, what you doing? You've been out here a long time, man. And the conversation in the neighborhood is, you growing a Chinese bamboo tree, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Well, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see ain't nothing showing. You know that's how people are going to do you? So how long you been working on this? How long have you been working on your dream? It's good. And you have nothing to show. This is all you got to show. People are going to do that to you. And some people, ladies and gentlemen, they stop. because they don't see instant results. It doesn't happen quickly. They stop. Oh, no. You got to keep on watering your dream. And when it began to happen, they stopped laughing. They said, look, whoa, look here. Look how, hey, man, you know, I know you can do it. Look here, you got a job here? See, during those hard times, we didn't know how you're going to make payroll. During those times when you failed and things didn't work out, they were nowhere to be found. But you know what I discovered? When you're working at your dream, somebody said the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Oh, it's sweet to you. It's good to you. Why? See, when it's hard and there's a struggle, see, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. And people know that you know what life is, that you have embraced life. You knew it was hard, but you did it hard.
In my world, we were called hustlers. In the corporate world, they're called CEOs and businessmen. I used to talk a lot. I was slick. In the corporate world, they call that a master communicator. Okay? So here were the parallels between the street hustler, the multi-million-dollar drug dealers, who never used drugs, who never was a part of gangs, who never carried guns. Age 19, millionaire, indicted by the federal government in 1988. Served 10 years in prison. 10 years in prison that I served. 10 years. Walking on concrete every single day. Sitting on a stainless steel toilet with toilet paper that's hard as a brown paper bag. So it was in 1984 that I embraced a criminal lifestyle. My criminal lifestyle was shaped by my mentors. I wanted more for my mother. I wanted more for my sister. And I decided that this was the way for me, which was the meal ticket for tens of thousands of young men of color in inner city communities across America. I was one of those guys. And it's not something that I'm proud of, but you always have to go back to the beginning of how it began. I made up to $35,000 a week in my heyday. But one thing that I wasn't able to see, because I had the blinders on, when you grow up in poverty, the front lobe that many of these intellectuals talk about that goes undeveloped, it doesn't allow you to see the world through the eyes of people who have been exposed, who have had access to the American dream. So we see one thing, that's how to hustle, how to put food on the table. And one of the biggest mistakes that many of our mothers in our community put on the burden of young boys is for a mother to say that you are the man of the house. When a mother tells you that you are the man of the house at 7 to 8 years old, every boy wants to help his mother. Every boy doesn't like to see his mother abused, doesn't like to see his mother going through various challenges in life. So they called me a hustler back in the days. When I was on the street, I understood marketing. I understood branding. I knew how to manage a diverse workforce. I had gang members following me, like any CEO, any leader, or great manager of a company. When you're a great leader, you have vision. And when you have vision, it becomes very addictive. People want to be a part of that. Like tens of thousands of young people on the street. The one thing that no one ever saw in me, they didn't know how to flip my gift of gab. They didn't know how to flip the ability that I was a #1 newspaper boy when I was 8. I had a #1 candy seller route when I was a little boy. But no one saw that. Because my mother was blind. It's not that she was uneducated, she was miseducated. So no one was able to say, Jeffrey, what do you want to be when you grow up? No one saw that in me. So as a drug dealer, I became very successful. I had the ability to tap into the talent and the strength of people on the streets. That's how I was able to move the product. Same scenario that I'm gonna take you to. The hustler or the businessman. And I'm not putting praise on the fact that drug dealers are these great individuals. Even though we victimized by selling drugs, we were also victims of our community and the people around us that shaped our thinking. 30% of people go to prison have a mental health issue. But what about the 70 that doesn't? Where did we go wrong? When did we make the wrong choices? Wrong choices are inspired by something that we see, something we hear, whether it's greed, whether it's poverty, whether it's just trying to beat the system or something like that. But Chef Jeff, how did you change? How did the blinders come off? How did you begin to see the world through a different set of eyes? Well, it didn't happen overnight. There was a collective of situations, circumstances, intellectual stimulation. I read my first book in prison. I was told for the first time in my life that I was smart in prison. An older man in prison taught me how to shave with a razor in prison. But not only did that begin to get me to see myself different, I became the same analyst that I was on the streets. See, I was in a federal system. I was in prison with some of the brightest minds on the universe. Stockbrokers, presidents and CEOs of corporations, judges, lawyers, former DEA agents. I began to build the relationships with them. I became an intellectual jacker. I robbed them for knowledge. That's right. I learned to cook in prison. I found my gift. It was fueled by my dream. The gift was cooking. Never knew that in my life. When I came home from prison in 1996, they told me I couldn't get a job and I wouldn't get a job. Well, I proved them wrong. I went in as a dishwasher. When I first got my job, there were things I had to change about me when I got out of prison. Everything. I had to build a brand. I had to rebuild my image. Clean shaved my face. Took makeup to cover my earring hole up. No tattoos. Quit lifting weights so I wasn't big and bulky. I got my teeth fixed, $2,600 grill. Look at that. Because I understood the importance of a smile. I haven't had to straighten up the way I walk, because I still walk cool sometimes. So this is how I used to walk. So I had to get my corporate swag down, right? Chef Jeff, how did I do it? I built the right relationships. I learned to smile. I changed my swagger. It took me 3.5 years to get a job at the Bellagio. I changed my walk 3.5 times. And I finally got the job. My mission is to get you to really understand the power of potential in individuals who may have grew up with circumstances and situations that shaped the thinking process of them. Well, I believe that everybody was born with a gift. I believe that everybody was born with the abilities and the strength and the genius to become someone. The reason why we're successful in here, because we discovered that. We unleashed that. But there's so much talent in the hood. There's so much individuals out there who are smart, who are forward thinkers, but they were using that intellect the wrong way. So I was always a genius, like so many young people who make poor choices. But it took me years to realize that. The transformation, going from criminal to respected chef, it was a process. It was a journey. And I knew in order to be the best chef in America, I had to go amongst the best chefs to learn, to study, to transformation. We talk about leadership. We talk about diversity. We talk about geniuses just like us, but they've been untapped. No one looks at them. No one takes the time to develop them, develop that intellect. So many of these young people have been impacted and influenced by negativity. Why shouldn't we live the American dream? Doesn't matter where you come from, what religion you are, what your story is. Everybody has the power of potential. Everybody can change. Each and every one of them should have that opportunity to live the dream.
I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. They said it wasn't possible for me. Then I was a 300-pound kid who said I wanted to be a Nike athlete. Does that even make sense? I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and they thought it was over for me, but I'm here. I'm on a winning streak! I'm on a winning streak! Let's go!
When I was 8, I had this dream. I always wanted to be a Nike athlete, but I was a chubby kid. It didn't matter to society what I was passionate about. It only mattered what I could realistically accomplish.
I'm 305 pounds, so insecure that I wouldn't even want to go out to the club. I would be afraid of everything. My first thought in the morning was fear to look in the mirror. My second thought was fear of my first meal. See, I was addicted to food. I would have to deal with it every single day. I would eat so much. I would eat 10,000, 15,000 calories in a day, and I would wake up the next morning and my skin would be bruised because I would expand so much. And then I would just binge so much to make myself so sick that I didn't even want to do it again. And that's when I went back. I went back to my childhood dream because what society told me to do, be a businessman, it meant nothing to me when I was looking at death. What did I want to do? I'm 28 years old, 300 pounds, diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I'm going to my business partners, and I'm going to my mom, and I'm saying, I want to retire. What do you mean you want to retire? I said, I want to be an athlete. I have to do it. Like, how you gonna make money? I said, it's not about the money. I've got to do this for me. I said, I'll figure all that out. He said, well, how you gonna do it? I said, I'm gonna do an Ironman in New Zealand. They thought I was crazy. How are you gonna do an Ironman? That's like the most difficult thing in the world to do. It's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and then run a full marathon? 26.2 miles? I said, I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna do it in 10 months. And I walked away from my business.
So I just started running. I started running around the block. Then I ran a little further. In a year's time, I lost 125 pounds and started reversing my brain tumor, building momentum for an Ironman in New Zealand. That was the contract I made for myself. So I got on a plane with my best friend Scott, and we set out to become Ironmen. But deep inside, I was afraid I wouldn't finish. I mean, how could a guy like me be an Ironman? I've always been the underdog. So it's race day. Scott and I, just two common guys surrounded by elite athletes, and we're dancing down the starting line. We hop in the water for our swim, and honestly, it was easy. It felt like we could see the finish line from here. We transitioned into the bike ride, and the fans were going crazy. I think they were cheering me on because, well, I was one of them, the common man. New Zealand, beautiful roaring hills, but those same roaring hills broke our bodies down. 12 hours into the race, and we're almost in last place. The Ironman's race director got afraid we're not gonna finish.
Steve from Ironman, how you doing? Whereabouts are you guys? You're gonna need to get behind him. You have to give him a bit of a push. So if you guys can get a word to him, the cutoff is 5:30, and he needs to be out on the road by 5:30.
I was scared. I left my company, changed my entire life. Everything was in jeopardy. I was throwing up, and my digestive system was shutting down. It hurt to even high-five the supporters. We were minutes away from disqualification. Everything was crashing down on me. Everything. My promise I made to myself, to everyone who believed in me. When you're at that wall, sometimes that wall isn't just in front of you. You're surrounded by the wall. I couldn't go over, I couldn't go through, and I couldn't go around. I had to dig deep. I picked myself up, fighting disqualification. And there it was, the finish line to an entire chapter of my life. This wasn't about 140 miles. This was about the contract I made to myself. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I still to this day get scared to chase my dreams. But I knew that if I was gonna become a Nike athlete, I needed to do more. I needed to inspire people the same way Nike inspired me.
I wanted to do something that very few people on this earth have ever done. Bike across America from Los Angeles to New York, and to help people along the way. I wanted to do it with my best friend Scott. I was scared, and so was he. Neither of us really knew what we were doing or what we were getting ourselves into. We wanted to be the inspiration for others to say, if they can do it, so can I.
That is Charlie Jabaley.
Charlie Jabaley.
This is Charlie. Good morning to you, Charlie.
Good morning.
Take a look at this man's transformation right here. Went from that to that.
Everywhere we go, we're looking for people who have dreams and how we can help them.
And then he heard about Siona.
Siona! Surprise! By the dumpster, Charlie Jabaley popped up with balloons, surprising Sienna Bryn with the gift that is a dream come true, her own car.
We all know that paying a mortgage weighs heavy on anyone's shoulders. Imagine having to do so while you're battling breast cancer.
Guys, this is Charlie. Remember him from the 6 o'clock hour.
We are completely paying off your mortgage.
I want to introduce you
To the dream machine.
I'm going to wrap it in a blank canvas, have everybody across the country write their dreams on it.
We started to realize that your actions and identity become your dream, and your dream starts to become you. To quote the late JFK, we didn't do it because it was easy, but because it was hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
My son is missing some of his fingers. Yep, that was my mom a few years ago. Now you say to yourself, why did the black guy with the pink shirt on and purple bow tie come out here and just pop some fingers on us like that? Well, first of all, this is all that I have. Number two, I want you to realize that for years, this finger mess was the thing that stopped my success. You see, guys, I remember in the 9th grade, I saw this fine girl in school. And so, guys, you know how we do when we step to a young lady. You gotta have that little swag, you know. Bam, bam. And I was like, excuse me, miss, what's your name? Hello, my name is Kantis. She was like, hold up, wait a minute. What is wrong with your fingers? Ooh, I can't do it. You have the cooties. Ta-ta. I'm gonna do something about this. So I went home, I grabbed some scissors, some needle and thread. Yeah. Today is the last day of these flapping fingers. Yes, sir. So I pulled the scissors, I had my glove up, and I was about to cut these flapping fingers off. And as I was about to cut the flapping fingers off, my mom, she busts in the bathroom. Bow. Ooh. Son, what in the world are you doing? I'm like, Mom, I'm cutting my flapping fingers off. She said, what? My flapping fingers? She said, huh? I said, Mama, I'm cutting my flapping fingers off because all the people at school talking about me. She said, child, please. Put the scissors down, put the needle and thread down. She said, son, I want you to hear something. Don't you ever forget it. Quit looking at what you don't have and think about all the things you do have. And those words, through high school, through college, through grad school, quit looking at what you don't have and think about all the things you do have. And as I sat there at my first job interview, I just zoned out. I started thinking about my mess. I started thinking about when I felt like I can't, or I won't, or I'll never. Yeah, I started thinking about all of those things, but there I was in the interview and I heard my words, my mom. Quit looking at what you don't have and think about all the things you do have. I realized that my fingers, that was my mess. That was the thing that played on my psyche. See, you may not have finger mess. You may have low self-esteem mess. You may have financial mess. You may have baby daddy mess. You may have, ooh, we don't like my classroom, my teacher mess. What's the thing that's holding you back? What's the thing that plays on your psyche? What's the thing that tells you, I can't? My family's going to struggle. I can't do it. I won't be able to do it. But here's the thing I want you to realize today, that if you're ever going to play your A game in school, if you're ever going to play your A game in life, that you have to get over your mess. Right now, I don't care what you think. I'm the coolest guy with 7.25 fingers. Yes. Yes. You know, honestly, nobody is thinking about your mess but you. And for years, my mess was bothering me. And you know what, young people? It stops today. I want you to think about the things that's holding you back from being your best. You see, I don't believe that you should be the best in life, but I'm encouraging you to be your best. And the only way you can be your best is if you get over your mess. June the 30th, 2012, when I landed in Vancouver and in Canada for the first time. And Vancouver welcomed me with rain. So here I was in this beautiful city of 600,000 people without a single friend or a relative. I didn't know anybody here. I'm Indian, so it's ironic that I did not have anybody here. But it's true, I didn't know a single person in this country. So 1 year into Canada, I had to look for a summer internship. And I had to go through tons and tons of job applications to find a 3-month internship in a factory. 2 hours one way, 3 buses and a train to get there and then coming back. Life was good. However, life went on, and December of 2013, I was ready to graduate. I was turning in the assignments, I was completing my reports, preparing for exams, I was busy, I was tired, I was stressed out, I was frustrated, but I was pumped up. Ask me, say, why were you pumped up? I'm glad you asked. I was pumped up because as soon as I finished my MBA, I was going to go back to India to see my family. A couple of days after I reached India, I was having a conversation with my grandmother. And she asked me, how are things in Canada? And I said, I'm not sure. Things are going to be difficult, because that was the evidence I had. I had a hard time looking for an internship, and there were people who graduated in December 2012 who were still looking for jobs in December 2013. So 1 year they were unemployed. So I knew about those people, and there were quite a few of them, and some of them were even smarter than me. So I knew all of that. I said, it's going to be difficult, and I'm not even sure. Maybe I should come back to India or figure something else out. And she said something to me which I have never forgotten. She said, son, everything new is hard at first. Everything new is hard at first. You're in a new culture, new country, amongst new people. It's bound to be difficult. But it doesn't mean it will stay difficult. If you stick to it long enough, it will get easy. If you stick, it will click. She said that in Hindi, so I added my rhyme to it. If you stick, it will click. Being able to live through the challenging phases allowed me to create the options that I have been able to create today, to do what I do today, to live what I call my dream. And it was only possible because of that message, because I could have otherwise given up. As you try to get into these strategies, it is going to be difficult, because everything new is difficult at first. And being able to stick through the difficult phases, it's going to get easy. Because, as my grandmother said, if you stick, it will click.